Hello again tonight. It's Ryder yet again. I have a tremendous development already. I have a friend who works in design for a living, and her and I were talking today, and she checked out the first two videos. And her and I are also talking about like what she could help me out with. So t-shirt design, site design, start off maybe with a flyer to pass around, speaking about press. So hopefully we will have quite a few more developments by the end of this week, as next weekend I will be in Hamilton and she's telling me to contact the local paper and the local news as well as the mayor. So I'm going to give it some thought and we'll let you know before I go to Hamilton on Saturday morning. Also, someone told me that it might be a good idea to put my story out there, so that those of you that come into this organization in any way, shape, or form, you know me in a way. So, as I've mentioned, I think I've mentioned in previous videos, I was bullied my entire life, like every day of school life, up until, well, completely the first day of school this year. But last year I went to a new school and it was a little easier and wasn't really that bad. But before that I spent years being tortured for my weight, for the way I looked. At one point, because I was very smart, I had no friends. Well, I had few friends. In grade 3 I had a friend named Connor Cook. That was about it. At some points in elementary school I had a friend named Sarah, I had a friend named Cody. But for the most part, I had absolutely no friends. I focused on school. You know, I dealt with it, the names, the taunts. But it hurts. And it cuts like a knife. I moved around a lot as a kid, so I was always the new kid in school, and it was always different schools. And then I moved out to Winona in Stony Creek, and then back to Hamilton. And then when I moved back to Hamilton, my family moved in with my grandparents for a little while, and I started going to Memorial School. I went there for 4 years, grade 5, 6, 7, and 8. I graduated from there into Delta High School. When I went to middle school, the bullying got worse. It became violent. Now, and I don't remember much bullying from before grade 5, so I can't even say if it was back then, because I can't remember. I remember one incident where a girl and her sister pinned me up against a brick wall and tried to beat the crap out of me just because of who I was. I was Ashley Fletcher. I smashed the girl on the top of the head with my lunchbox and I ran away. In middle school I was horribly bullied for my weight because I had gained weight. Because I didn't do sports anymore. I didn't go out and play with other kids because, well, who was there to play with? And then there was high school. Really bad. I had enough problems in middle school where I would get up and I would dread going to school. But when I started high school, I started waking up very afraid. I didn't want to go to school. And eventually I did drop out and stopped going to class altogether to avoid my bullies. The first month of school, a girl beat me so badly that I had the shoe tread, the tread of her shoe, down my chest and down my back. Because her friend kicked out my knees from behind me when this girl was beating me up, and I hit the ground, and one of them booted me in the chest and one of them booted me in the back. Sorry, you know, I'm messing with my hair. And then I stood up, and the 30-some-odd kids in the crowd that was around me all cheering her on went, "Oh shit," and ran away. because I stood back up. So, little lesson there, most bullies are cowards. And if they think you're stronger than them, then they'll back off. But that doesn't mean you should fight or anything like that. I believe in, you know what, you fight when you have to. Don't go out and cause a fight. It's not worth the trouble. I'm on a 14-month probation for getting fed up with the girl and her lying and her bullying me, and I hit her. That was last year. Bad idea. Don't do it. Not unless you absolutely have to. Don't do it. It's not worth the consequences. I also had another girl later on in Delta try to beat me up. And I left the school. I walked into the principal's office, and I was bullied every day by everyone in school. I was picked on, I was pushed around, I was called fat, I was called ugly, a loser, anything you could think of, emo. At one point I was labeled a slut and a whore in my school because I was raped shortly before I left. I was raped a month before my 15th birthday, and I'm able to talk about it now, almost 4 years later, because I survived it. Any sort of abuse, by the way, because I mentioned that, is bullying. Whether it's at school or at home, in your friends, stranger on the street, and it's wrong. No person deserves to be treated like that. No person deserves to be hit. No person deserves to be raped, and no person deserves to be killed. There was one on a project video I'm going to be putting up Monday of my project at school. I have a name on there, Rena Verk. She was 14 in Victoria, BC, a few years ago. And she was beaten by 7 girls and 1 boy. Beaten almost to death and then dumped into the George Inlet. Or the Gorge Inlet. Whatever it's called. They killed her. Hundreds of students knew before the police knew. This girl was the most bullied girl at her school. Apparently, according to the story. So, you know, these kids make me think, these kids that are dying really do, and now that one's my friend because I was bullied school-wide. In the beginning of grade 9, I started to cut myself. I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol. I've tried to overdose on pills. I've tried to overdose on cough syrup in my sleep. I've tried to hang myself. I have never succeeded. Even when I should have taken enough pills to kill me, or I did drink enough cough syrup, I was still here. When I tried to hang myself, the tree branch snapped. Clearly I'm supposed to be here for a reason. So, you know, I know it was brief and it was very condensed, but that's my story. I don't need to give you any more detail than that. Trust me, you don't want to know. But I went through a lot of violent bullying. And you know what nowadays a lot of kids do? And the names hurt worse than the punches. Okay, a bruise or a scratch can heal, and it might scar. Yeah, but it'll heal. But scars on your soul, scars on your heart, scars on your mind, and scars on your eyes, because you will never look at yourself as beautiful as you really are when someone has spent years telling you you're fat and telling you you're ugly. People look at me all the time and tell me I'm pretty. I look in the mirror and I see that girl that I was told I was. And I'm trying very hard to get past that. But there is hope for me and for anybody else who's suffering. So I just wanted to give you guys a glimpse into me. And I hope that it makes you trust me more in this. In knowing that this organization is going to be, you do something about it. You don't just sit there and talk about it. Can't wait to show you my project on Monday. And thank you so much to Allison Choppick, who I mentioned you at the beginning of the video. Great friend of mine. She's amazing. Passing around the video and helping me out any way she can. Thank you so much, girl. You rock. Good night, YouTube.